So hello and namaste to all of you. Uh, in past, this is Javin Chalu Singh from Department of Physiotherapy and Diagnosis from Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. So in past lectures, we talked about the deficiency manifestations of vitamin D, which were rickets and osteomalacia. So we'll talk about other actions of vitamin D, its role in innate immunity and metabolic syndrome, also its requirement and sources. So now, recent researches has proved that most tissue possesses vitamin D receptors, and several tissue have enzymes to generate calcitriol. So 125-DHCC has been found to have modulatory effect on immune hematopoietic system. So the therapeutic doses given to children with rickets have been found to correct the anemia and hypocellularity of the bone marrow and increased susceptibility to infection. So it has also been found to reduce the risk of cancer and coronary vascular diseases, and beneficial effects have been observed in patients with AIDS, and calcitriol exerts its pleiotropic actions via the specific receptor VDR, which is an important transcriptional factor. Now, vitamin D and innate immunity. So, vitamin D has been found to be a modulator of innate immune response. So, the binding of pathogens such as Mycobacterium tuberculosis to the toll like receptors on macrophages reduces the synthesis of VDR and 1 alpha hydroxylase. So, the resultant activation of 25-OH-D3 and upregulation of specific genes leads to production of antimicrobial proteins in cell and in antimicrobial proteins in cell, and in hypovitaminosis this capacity is blunted and may be the reason behind the advice given to tuberculosis patients to be a sunny weather. So a negative correlation between IgE and vitamin D concentrations and a positive between vitamin D and lung functions was shown in children with asthma, and vitamin D supplementation in patients with steroid resistant asthma was found to be beneficial. So now vitamin D and metabolic syndrome. So vitamin D insufficiency is associated with high risk for metabolic syndrome, and low serum vitamin D3 is known to perturb cellular functions and endocrine pancreas, which is involved in pathogenesis of obesity and type 2 diabetes. And insufficiency of vitamin 25-OH-D3 is more common in patients with excessive body weight and metabolic syndrome. So vitamin D deficiency is associated with increased risk for hypertension, glucose intolerance, uh, uh, impaired synthesis and secretion of insulin, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes mellitus, metabolic syndrome, obesity, myocardial infarction, stroke, peripheral vascular diseases, and asthma. Vitamin D concentration positively correlates with HDL cholesterol and negatively with serum triglyceride levels and LDL cholesterol. So, vitamin supplementation was found to be beneficial in all these clinical conditions. So, what are the requirements of vitamin D? In children, 10 micrograms per day is required, or I should say 400 international units per day is required. In adults, 5 to 10 micrograms per day, or I should say 200 international units per day is required. In pregnancy and lactation, 10 micrograms per day is required. And above the age of 60, 600 IU per day is required. Now, what are the sources of vitamin D? So, exposure to sunlight produces cholecalciferol. Moreover, fish, liver oil, fish, and egg yolk are good sources of vitamin. Milk contains moderate quantity of vitamin, and the current recommendation is to fortify dairy products with vitamin D and adequate exposure to sunlight without sunscreen before 10 a.m. and after 3 p.m. to at least 15 minutes a day will give safe sun. So now what is the term hypervitaminosis D? So the concept of hypervitaminosis D have changed now. So the therapeutic doses varying from 2000 to 4000 IU per day or weekly doses are being given now. So doses above 10,000 units per day for long periods it may cause toxicity, and symptoms include weakness, polyuria, intense thirst, difficulty in speaking, hypertension, and weight loss. Now, hypercalcemia leads to calcification of soft tissues, metastasis, calcification, and otherwise called calcinosis, especially in vascular renal tissues. Although vitamin D is toxic in higher doses, excessive exposure to sunlight does not result in vitamin D toxicity because excess D3 is destroyed by sunlight itself. So this was all about vitamin D. So I'll tell you about vitamin E in next lectures. Until then, if you have any doubts regarding vitamin D, you can contact me. Until then, take care and goodbye.